Yo, what's going on, big dog?
What's going on, man? I like your background. That's dope.
Yeah, ACC. I got a few of them. I got a few of them up my sleeve. Let me see. You probably gonna like this one a little bit better.
Ah,
You probably like that one a little bit better.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and get it off of here before they mistake me for a Florida State fan. But what's going on with you, man? How your day been?
It's been good, man. Just been traveling. It's wet up here, so it's been raining. So
Yeah, it's been the same down here. Been raining all week.
yeah.
All right. So let's just pretend like these people don't know who you are. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and let them know where to find you and all that good stuff.
All right, cool. At Big Game James _ oh shit.
Y'all bear with them. You got a little technical difficulty. Oh, there you go. We can see you, but we can't hear you. No, we still can't hear you. We can see you though, but we can't hear you. All right, yeah. There we go.
Check, mic check. Mic check.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, cool. Yeah, big. Get this off my the Big Game James _ 36. Played for Florida State 2002, 2005. Started fullback for 3 of those years. I have a channel, Did Media Group, where we talk about all things sports related. I cover the Jaguars and the NFL, and then I work with Sporadics Media, where we do FSU podcasts, and then just talk about FSU all the time. And really, I get a chance to talk about all of them. Haven't done radio. I got to talk about the Canes, the Gators, Jags, Buccaneers, Dolphins, all that good stuff. So it's not a bad gig.
All right. So what you guys are getting, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the Florida State fans on the channel already know, you're getting a former player, a guy that's been where all of us haven't been. In them trenches, in them locker rooms, meetings, all that good stuff. So you're getting a perspective from a guy that's been there. When I talk, it's just opinion, but what this guy's gonna tell you is facts. That's tough. So your time at Florida State, man, give us a brief summary of, what you went through there and what do you think the difference is of then and now?
I mean, it was one of the cool things. I got a chance to play for a legend, and Bobby Bowden, and the rivalries meant something back then. I actually almost went to Miami out of high school, but and coming from the Northeast, where most of my family is from, but I grew up in Tallahassee. A lot of the introduction to college football was Florida State, Miami, or Florida State, Florida. That's all you would see. It's a lot more NFL in the Northeast than it is college football. But when I would watch it, I saw more guys that looked like me and the guys that I came up with than I did with Florida. So I always joke with people, say Florida was never in consideration because the best example is if anybody watched the 30 for 30 with the Fab Five, and Jalen Rose said, we looked at Duke. Duke was the bunch of kids, the black kids that had both parents. They were special type of black guys that they brought. They didn't like that spice. That's how we felt about Florida State. I mean, about Florida. So I went to FSU, went on a visit to Miami, ended up picking Florida State. And my time there was tough. Like we were coming off of was it 3 straight national championships. Then they had the one down year. And, we went back, won the ACC 3 of my 4 years there. Had a lot of guys going to NFL, but won't even hold you. Our only knock was that we ran into probably the most talented, the biggest collection of talent that the University of Miami's probably ever had. And Sean Taylor, I think I did the math. I played against 11 first-round draft picks against Miami during my 4 years. On defense, not total, but just like offense and defense, but like 11 first rounders on that defense during my 4 years. And there was some cats that was over there. But even when I played at Florida State, I think a lot of us got an opportunity to go to the NFL, at least get some coffee and beignets like I did in New Orleans. And, but it was a great time. I wouldn't trade it, being able to play home. I get the sell of play for the crib that Miami uses a lot, because I got an opportunity to play for the crib. And Tallahassee had a lot of talent come out of what they call the Big Bend area during my time there. But playing at home on the Jumbotron, your mama getting a chance to see you, it was nothing like it.
Man, so, obviously the rivalry between Miami, you say you came in and win 2002?
Yeah.
So Miami, playing in the national championship, got robbed by Ohio State. The rivalry between us back then. I think y'all got us out of that era in like maybe 2005.
Yeah, we got y'all in 05. I scored that touchdown in that game.
Oh, man.
Got a chance. I always joke. It was one space I went on, and I was just talking. And that's why I said, like, it was kind of cool, different. Like, when you were talking, like, damn, you actually sound like you got some goddamn sense, which is cool, which is no problem. Trolling is one thing. I have no problem with the trolling going back and forth. But I'm like, dang, this guy was like, who are you? I said, ask Leon Williams who I am. And Leon Williams can tell you exactly who I am. We got a chance to have an amazing collision in the end zone. And we did all of those different things. And it was some great games. Went back and forth.
Do you have contact with Leon?
I haven't seen Leon since we played in we played in the Las Vegas All-American Classic that year. I haven't seen him since then, but I know he got a chance to play with the Browns, if I remember correctly. He was good linebacker.
So then that moment you scored the touchdown, you guys beat us. I think was it like 10-7? 10-7, yeah, close game. Game-winning touchdown. That's your last year, I think. You finally got over the hump, because the past couple of years we've won those games, plus the bowl game.
Yeah,
plus
close games.
Was it the Orange Bowl?
Orange Bowl.
We played twice that one year.
Yeah.
So you got over the hump. You got that one win out of Miami, and you scored the winning touchdown, man. What was that feeling like?
That because we got over the hump, and it was what sucked was, playing Miami, especially in 2002, we played Miami, and we had that game won. And I remember, it was this not a sweep, it was a screen that McGahee ran it, I believe, and it's still kind of had nightmares about it, because like you see it, and like you can see all the blocks set up, and it was just perfect, and the motherfucker was skating, and just we saw a lead get slowly chopped away because of arrogance of our offensive coordinator. Like Greg Jones ran for 200 yards in the first half that game against Miami, and we could have just kept running it, and we decided not to. So shit happens. And then in 2003, we played in the pouring down rain in Doak to a close game, and then the bowl game was close. Then we played again. You just play all these games that you have every opportunity to win, and it's close, and then you finally get the one. And the way it was the muff field goal that would have took it to overtime. That made it just feel like, you know what, it was kind of clean. It was dope. But we also learned that you can't let your whole season go into beating a rival. So like when we pick on Miami fans right now, saying like, hey, for what it seems like the last few years after the Florida State game, a season kind of goes downhill. I understand that firsthand. We played y'all, our whole offseason was beat Miami because it's been so close. But we beat Miami, then it was like, well, what the hell do we do? Like, what we got? What's next? And that's obviously, again, it's about winning. It's obviously important to beat your rivals, but it's very important to make sure you keep the main thing. The main thing is you want to win every game, because the goal is, when you go to the Miamis, the Florida States of the world, your goal isn't just to come there to beat your rival. Your goal is to try to win as many games, win a conference championship, win a national championship, and if you do things the right way, go to the NFL. And because to go to one of these universities and nobody knows who the hell you are is like really a waste.
Right. So I watched recently. I had Stephen Harris on here recently. He played for the Gators, won the championship in '06 with them. And one of the things that I seen, because I seen him in the Gators what's it Untold Stories, Swamp Kings. And what I thought of it was there was a lack of Florida State in that whole thing, because they didn't talk about you guys not once. So I want to ask you, during your time at Florida, we know the Miami versus Florida State history, but during your time at Florida State, what was it like playing Florida? Was it the same kind of feeling against Miami, or was it different?
It was different. Miami was doing well. Miami had started having that resurgence. Obviously, started in 2000, where probably should have played in the national championship if we being for real. And then you went there in 01, you won it. Went back in 02, lost it, but there was that.
We won it.
Well, it was taken from me. I'll give you that. That's without a doubt. But a lot of back and forth was going there. It was more of a rivalry of respect, which is really funny. Is the crazy part about when I see the trolling now, I think people get too caught up in that and don't realize what the rivalry really is. Like, it's more of like I said, most of us almost went to the other school. It's just, and we were both schools that were on the outside looking in the beginning. We came out of nowhere to the traditional schools. If you look at the top 25 before 1980, Florida State and Miami weren't in that top 25.
Right.
But the rest of the schools that are consistently in there, they've been there for forever. But Florida State and Miami came in and shook up the apple cart and forced a lot of people to respect the brand of football that was in the state of Florida. Whereas Florida always been in the SEC, and the SEC has always had this air about them. So, like, it was a great joke by a Miami fan. He said he was in the gym. He was working out. He asked the FSU fan, "Hey, can you spot me?" The FSU fan spotted him. And then he said a Florida fan came over and said, "Hey, can y'all spot me?" The FSU fan looked at him, just walked away. And then he saw him. He said, "Hey, man, why you ain't give that man a spot? Why you gave me a spot?" He said, "I'm cool with y'all. I don't want to see a Florida fan be successful at anything in life." And I said, and that kind of sums up the real part about it. So it's like, when I see Miami fan, oh, y'all went 13-0, but y'all no play. It's almost like it's beneath y'all to try to troll to get our attention, because y'all are considered almost like, no matter how far down you are, you're considered an equal. You do have the 5 rings. The 80s shit, Miami in the 80s was some bad motherfuckers. Like, but to see Trailer Hassey, like, we know what it's like in Miami. All y'all ain't living on South Beach. Everybody not living on Star Island. I got people in Miami. Miami got some really bad places that if you ain't rich, that you live in.
Being projects don't exist to a lot of them.
Right. Like I joke with people, say when I would go down to visit, I said, don't take me to nowhere that Trick Daddy named in the song. I said, because I did not want to go. I don't want to learn the value. I don't need to learn them kind of lessons to know where I'm not supposed to go. But Florida, it really is we don't really rock with. I don't like Florida. And I get why they didn't put us in the documentary. And when I was there, you got to think Spurrier was there, but Spurrier never won a dope. Spurrier left. They had Zook the crook. Zook got fired in 3 years. They brought somebody else in. So Bobby used to say, I count Florida coaches as, this is number 1. This is number 2. He's like, they just keep getting rid of coaches while I'm here. I keep getting them fired. So, I have a winning record against Florida. Outside, the guy out of hand my senior year, but hey, they got us. But the thing about Florida, Urban Meyer, that was an Urban Meyer redemption story more than it was about what the University of Florida was at. But I really don't like. I've been to Hogtown twice in my life, and I played there both times. I don't have no interest in going there. I actually told my son, you can go to any school in America that you want to except for Florida. And I said, you go to Florida, then you don't talk to me until you have. I said, I will shake your hand at graduation and say you did this as a man. You graduated on your own. You did it without no money. I appreciate you. Now call me when you have my grandson, James Anthony Coleman IV, because I ain't talking to you again till you have some kids. Like, you're losing inheritance. So we don't play that.
Let me ask you this. You said Miami recruited you. Who was your recruiter, and what was that like?
Randy Shannon. I played linebacker in high school. Randy came on my campus.
Before you give me that, Harrison also said the same thing. His recruiter was Randy. And the reason he ended up not getting, they didn't talk to him after he had an incident with Randy's daughter, but he accidentally knocked her down because she tried to jump on his back. And somebody jump on your back and you lean forward, they're going over.
Right.
So after that, Randy never talked to him. So what was your experience with Randy?
It wasn't nothing like that. I like the boldness of Randy Shannon. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like seeing Randy and Garnet and Gold is still weird. But it was weirder to see him
in blue and orange too. So it was super weird.
Right. So when I saw that, I'm like, man, people were like, what do you think about it? I said, dude, Randy Shannon is, because the rivalry still means something to me. Like, I got a kid that's going to Miami, Derek Platt, that I coach. And
shout out to that guy. I like that kid.
Derek's dope. I got to joke with people. Derek rated for everything, because Derek has heard everything from me this year, every day, talking about Miami to him. The first person I go to is to talk trash to him about Miami. But seeing Randy come in decked out in orange and green, and I went to Florida High, which is Florida State University School. So my high school campus was on FSU's campus.
Right.
But to see him walk middle of FSU campus with the U stuff on, having that bop, that confidence, was just a thing where I'm just like, yo. And it just what ended up working out, how it ended up working out is that I test very well. I just don't like school and I don't go to class. And be honest, I really just couldn't get in. Like, nobody thought I was going to actually I was going to qualify to be able to get into. Like, I scored a 30 on the ACT as a sophomore, but I had like a 2.3 GPA, and I just But luckily, when I got into Florida State, they had this program that they could put you on for inner city kids, so that helped me get into college. So probably if Miami figured something, and again, to be honest with you, it wouldn't have worked as a linebacker. I wasn't as good as those guys that they had at linebacker. Now, when I went to fullback, that changed the game. I love blocking Vilma, DJ Williams, and those guys like that. But it was it was good. It was but like I said, that's the guy who recruited me, Randy, and I've always had tremendous respect for Randy. It's just really weird seeing Randy not being orange and green, because again, the rivalries mean something to me. And I love the pride that players have and that guys have. And like when I go see, like, matter of fact, he owed me a box of cigars. But when I go see Reggie Wayne, I see him like 2-3 times a year. Reggie, the one who, matter of fact, I might have to go find the video and make sure he remember that he owned me. I know what he can afford, but we bet a box of cigars. And it was just funny because I asked Ed Reed if he wanted in on the bet too. And Ed was like, nah, we straight. He's like, I'm good. He wouldn't bet me. But
I might have to get you to line up some interviews, man.
Oh, I mean, listen, the funniest thing is the fan bases and how the fan bases operate compared to the guys who actually went out there and played. Now, we'll talk our trash online every now and then when it comes to the game, but outside of that, most of us either played against each other in the NFL, do business. Like, I love Lance. Lance owed me some boiled peanuts.
Boiled peanuts.
Yeah,
hey, I mess with Lance, man. I actually got, let me plug it real quick then. Taste1boilpeanuts.com. Make sure you guys going over there. Use promo code Big3T2Y. Save $10 on your order. Make sure you go get them. Best peanuts in the world. You can't go wrong. All right, back to schedule programming.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to make you put. I was just using guys like as an example. I mean, I used to do radio with Big Leon Searcy, and talking with him, talking trash. But it's like a lot of y'all. The reason why we could talk trash like that is because we are large mammals and very testosterone fueled men. Imagine if some of us talked as reckless as some of the people on the timeline talk. There'll be a lot of violence, and that's how I know a lot of people don't. That's why I always joke with them.
I tell them my trolling is not meant to make you want to fight me. It make you want to react. That's it.
That part.
Man. So, 2000, let's fast forward to 2013. Seeing them, doing what they doing with Jameis Winston, coming in after that 12-2, then they went ahead and won the championship in 13. As a former player, more than just a fan, how was that time for you? During that time.
I mean, it was dope. It was crazy because they went down. It was down a really bad path, and Florida State fan base, people like the players were upset because you got to remember we only knew one coach. All of us had Bobby, and Jimbo replaced Bobby, and the way that Bobby left, some of us didn't like that, and then we didn't have immediate success after that. So Jimbo was really facing some heat, and but he did end up, doing the stuff and turning it around. And not only did they win, it was the manner in which they won made it feel like old Florida State teams of old. Jameis being very charismatic and personable, goofy as all get out, but very charismatic and personable.
How you doing?
Eat the W. And just even some of the things that he went through. It reminded me of stuff that we've seen. Like it was funny to see people actually think that I can't remember that prosecutor's name, but that if that prosecutor felt he had a case, Jameis Winston would have went all the way to trial. They do not protect us in Tallahassee from anything. Like it's a lot of guys that got booked and got that taser that were my teammates and all of those kind of things. But like you see those things and you feel like you're back, and after being down for so long, and you feel like, oh man, there's no way this is like maybe Jimbo's that guy, and then you do it again in 2014, and then you start experiencing that coordinated hate because ESPN was loved to tell stories about Florida State that weren't whole truths, and like we're very much so a lightning rod to be able to get you clicks and eyes on you. But then after 2015, 2016, you just see like everything go downhill. Jimbo's personal life kind of went to trash and stuff like that happens. But but 2013 was a great. And that was when my first son was born. So it was a great time seeing him, getting a chance to do that. The only thing, and this is also where I learned to never take anything for granted. So what I said I'm not going to go to the national championship game because we return everybody back. We'll be there next year. And because I had to go, I went to the Army All-American Bowl as a guest of the Army for a whole week. So I was gone from my kid for a week. This is my firstborn son, my namesake. So I'm going to come back. Me and my son going to watch the national championship together as a family. He can't see nothing. He was like 6 months in, but he pretended like he know what's going on. We ain't been back. So I told him, I don't care what's going on.
Tough, man.
Ain't nothing more important than if Florida State in the national championship game than me getting to that damn national championship game. So I will be at the next one. I was hoping it was going to be this year, but shit happens and, whatever.
Okay, so speaking of this year now, let's talk about it. Playoff committee, final day, Sunday. Comes down to it, Alabama or Florida State. Alabama gets in, Florida State's left on the out. We see the players react, we see Norvell react, and of course the fans have reacted. So as a former player, let's just say you was in that predicament now, what will be going through your head?
Man, and that was, there's a lot of those young men that I talk to, and I tell them the truth. If I were in their shoes, I don't know how I would react. But it probably wouldn't be well. But I'm not. And I was trying to tell them from the guy you'll never get a chance to get this year back. And when it's done, it's done. And college is a lot more kind to a lot of us than the pros ever were or ever will be. They still have an opportunity to make history. Going undefeated is very difficult. Some schools, like Florida's never gone undefeated. Florida State has had one team go 14-0, and they won a national championship. You have an opportunity to be the second team to go 14-0 against a sizable opponent in Georgia. Both teams should have about as many opt-outs. Obviously, Georgia has Carson, their quarterback. We don't have Jay Trav, but regardless, you got to go out there and you got to play the game. And that's kind of where – but I hurt for them but they learned a valuable lesson in life. Sometimes you can do everything right. You do everything that they told you to do, and you still can lose. And It shouldn't be that way, but that's America. Sometimes it goes the way for you. Sometimes people who didn't do everything that they were supposed to do get put in front of you. At least you learned it from a game, but you're still playing the game. And while it's what stinks is for fans and for those players is for them to continue to play in our face like we shouldn't be upset. People are telling you to get over it, like it didn't just happen. People are telling you that you're making up stuff because, again, all year Florida State fans have been complaining about why is ESPN messing with us. And then for this to happen, and then none of it makes sense. I would have felt better if ESPN would just man up and just say, this is what it is. Like I told Kirk Herbstreit on Twitter, I said, if you really felt good about the decision and your stance, you would not be responding to guys with 30 Twitter followers. Like, just shut up. Stand on what you said. You said what you said. Mute the tweet, but you keep putting out these essays like a female, and you're trying to explain yourself out of this situation. And you just need to stand on business. And I will respect it more. But the problem is you got guys and they keep saying something different, which is why I do agree. I don't agree that I'm glad Florida State's not doing it. I'm glad that the government is doing it. But I do want to know how they pick. So soon, I want to see the discovery. That's what I want.
I saw that you guys subpoenaed the committee to basically give the video logs or whatever kind of logs they took in the discussion of, keeping you guys out instead of Alabama. But they basically responded and said, we ain't giving y'all shit.
Which is cool, which is what's supposed to happen, right? So what happens with laws, with different things, and unfortunately, you want to know when you've made some money, you get sued. That's when you know that's when you're balling, unfortunately. And lawyers, as my favorite rapper Jay-Z said, chains are cool to cop, but more important is lawyer fees. Always make sure you got a good one on standby. But the discovery, you don't get to pick and choose what you're going to give. So you start off with this, and then you go, and all you have to do in Florida court is bring up enough smoke that it appears that you do have a case that shows that you were wrong. Everybody in America, even in the timeline, can say, we know something ain't smelling right when it comes to this. And even in their response, this was the first time in a or as they call it now, autonomy 5, the first time in the autonomy 5 that this has happened. So once we get to court and a judge says, give us what we asked for, give them what they asked for, you don't have a choice, or you're in contempt. And then you get then you can potentially get a judgment slapped on you, which is cool. The whole thing is we're going to try to embarrass them to show them that this is a whole farce. That's the whole goal. It's not to like this. You're not going to be deemed the 2023 national champions. You're going to. The whole goal is to make sure everybody sees this as something that's fake. But you don't get to pick and choose when the judge says, like as a guy who's been through it, when the judge says turn over the text messages between you and these numbers, show me all emails from these people. You don't get to say I ain't giving it to you. You got to. So, but it doesn't. But nobody ever just gives the stuff up because you ask nicely. That's the crazy part. You got to do it that way.
All right. So let's go into some hypotheticals. You go to court. They tell them, "Hey, hand it over." What are you expecting to see in there, in those logs? What are you expecting to hear? Because a lot of people have, certain things that they think was said and talked about, whether it's money, viewerships, and all that. Brand names, ESPN, that kind of deal. What do you think was said in there?
I think what we want to do is why does ESPN have such a coordinated narrative and not just speaking like for right now. So we'll just use us on the spaces that we've done the last couple of days, right? When we're talking about sports, there was like me and you did not get together to talk about anything. So it was organic. There's a way that people talk when they haven't all been together and they know exactly what they're going to say. Why was everybody's response so similar? Was it something that people were told to speak about it around this time away? The bigger question is, why did Vegas go from having Florida State as an 85% with the bets? So, they tell you the percentage based on the points as an 85% shoo-in, but when the sun went down to go into the college football playoff, and Alabama has 15%. What changed to make it go 50-50 when no football games were played? After all the football games were played, these are the things. Somebody leaked something to somebody. And
it was definitely leaked. Because before they even announced it on the betting sites, it was already up there. Because I was live during the selection, and I was like, somebody posted, I'm like, yo, the betting lines and everything for the playoffs is already out. So in 30 minutes from now, it's gonna be Alabama. It's gonna Florida State's not getting in.
And so that's what people want to know. Like, why? How can it's a lot of things that you can't explain away. And the real thing is what we really want them to say, and this is what has to be said, because it's not just for Florida State. We're the person who's been the victim here. But if it happens to us, you know what's going to happen if Miami gets whoever and goes undefeated next year?
ESPN got a narrative around Miami, the brand, everything.
So I'm saying it's going to happen.
Let's jump back to 2017. Miami won 10 games straight, scraped by. I mean, literally scraped by everybody. Last minute pullouts and everything. But the name, the turnover chain, everything was popping. The views was up. ESPN was doing great numbers. We jumped to number 2 in the country, struggling. So you know it's a narrative behind views and all that. They pushing the narrative because every year there is Miami back. Is Miami back? Is this the year? And they caught wind of it in 2017 and they ran with it. What I've noticed with Florida State this year, last year you won 10, and this year nobody was pushing y'all. Y'all kept winning games, but nobody was pushing you.
And then people said stop. And then what we want to know is, I want to know what was said to defend Washington. Because I get it. They got the 4 wins. Great. But every negative thing you can say about Florida State, Washington has those exact same things outside of the quarterback being hurt.
I can say one thing to defend Washington. The Pac-12 this season has
really
been
good.
Strongest
in Pac-12. And my knock isn't, hear me, I'm saying, Washington and Michigan went undefeated.
Right.
They deserve to be.
Michigan, I think with the cheating stuff, if
I
they
agree.
win the championship, it's asterisk.
So even with that, we know that there was cheating that happened with Michigan. And even then, they're let in. So it's just the stuff that you use for the undefeated teams that you didn't think were marks, you used their marks against FSU. Here's what probably should have happened. And I get it. You got to have an SEC team in. They don't know what it's like to not have an SEC team in. What you should have the balls to say is that Texas lost to a 2-loss Oklahoma team that hasn't played anybody to a truly high level. You would have been facing backlash, but you wouldn't be getting sued by a state in which you're going to host your national championship in next year.
Man.
But one thing I will say is that this has driven content. It's been amazing. It's been ratings galore for everybody. Like, if anybody who has a podcast, this is what you want. ESPN is probably getting something. Kirk is going to say something in a couple days after. Kirk is like Jada Pinkett. Like, when nobody's talking about her and Will Smith, she'll say something that nobody needed to know. Like, I masturbate to Tupac's ghost till I get around. And then, like, we didn't need to hear that.
Man.
We didn't need it. We was cool. Every 3 months, Jada Pinkett has to say something to make us remember that her and Will Smith are in a toxic relationship. And that's what Kirk Herbstreit and then the dude with the big ears on Paul Feinbaum. That's what they like. They every time they're gonna do something like that, and it's just because this in Florida State is an easy target. Our fan base.
Let me tell you a tactic I use, and I see Florida State fans online on Twitter all the time. They fall for it every time. I've came on there every single week and predicted y'all to lose every single game. And as soon as y'all don't win it, everything that they don't benchmark and come back and they tweet it back to me, I ignore it and I go to the next week. Paul Feinbaum and Kirk Herbstreit, they're not built that way. They see the comments, they see the rebuttals, and they just feel like they got to say something. And every time they say something, it's something different. So I can see where y'all coming at them. Like, okay, well, if it was this, why does this criteria not match for everybody but us?
Well, it's partially too because they feel like they are they're the authority. They have been placed in this position, and how dare you respond?
I'll say this: not Feinbaum, but Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit. They're the face of college football.
Oh yeah. Because that's what we know. Like coming to your city and all that other stuff. But Paul Feinbaum, for
grew up
whatever
watching it.
reason, feels like he has a voice. And how dare you challenge him in his wisdom in when he's over there stroking off Nick Saban. And that's really what it comes down to. Is like they get challenged, and it's some like you stressed it perfectly. I always tell people this: what I'm not finna do is go back and forth with somebody and do volleys for like 20 damn tweets. I got other shit to do. I got other random tweets to get off. I'll give you one response, maybe two. And then if you keep going back and forth, I'm gonna mute the damn tweet so I don't gotta see these responses. Mute is I won't block anybody, but I'll mute the hell out of somebody in a heartbeat and just move on about my business. Because I don't feel that I know I'm not. If you're cemented, I'm not gonna win an argument on Twitter with somebody like that doesn't want to argue intelligently. So Kirk Herbstreit is feeling like I'm going to win this argument when a lot of the time there's nothing to win. People are just mad.
Hold on 1 second. Let me address this comment. T2Y, the energy ain't the same. You actually sound like you have some sense. Okay, so when I'm talking to a guy with some intellect that could go dive into what's really going on and not just telling me, oh, the world hates Florida State, this, that, and the third, we can have an intellectual conversation. But if y'all coming in here and saying F this guy and F that guy, that's the same kind of vibe I'm gonna give you back. I'm gonna dive into the troll because you already triggering, you reacting. But we actually diving into what actually goes behind the scene of these decisions. I came on here the night before they made the decision. I dropped a video, a 10-minute video, and I explained to Florida State fans why the next day y'all not getting in the playoffs. I told them all the tactics, the viewership, the numbers, all that, the brand, everything. They're going to sneaky kick you guys to the curve, even though you're 13-0. I also told them college football is not the NFL. In the NFL, all you got to do is win. Nobody can't hold nothing against you. Just keep winning. You win the playoff regardless. But in college, let's just say at the end of the year, 5 teams are undefeated. 4 teams getting in. How do they differentiate the 4 teams to keep one out? How you won games matter. I've been telling Florida State fans this from the beginning of the year because they tune in with me. How you win games matter. We joke, we laugh, we troll and everything about the Boston College game and all the other games. And I'm telling them, listen, if it comes down to the end and you guys are undefeated and certain other teams are undefeated, they're going to keep you out because your resume. And unfortunately, another plot twist, Jordan Travis get injured. Tate Rodemaker comes in, he get a concussion, didn't look too well. And then, obviously, to even get a touchdown, Toafili had to be in the Wildcat. So I saw the narrative written right in front of me. They're not going to let him in. Then on top of that, Georgia went out and did the unthinkable, losing to Alabama. And then Texas on top of that went out and pretty much dominated their conference championship. So I'm like, the writing's on the wall. Georgia's out. Florida State's out. They're going to put Alabama in. Alabama just beat the number 1 team in the country. They're the SEC champions. And what people don't realize is their viewership is almost twice as Florida State's, and they're ESPN's premier brand. The ACC is considered as ESPN regular brand, and they consider the SEC to be their premier brand. So I already knew if it came down to Florida State 13-0 versus Alabama, SEC champion beating number 1 team, they're going to pick Alabama. I told FSU fans this. You know what they told me? You just a hater. You're a Miami fan. You don't know nothing. And then the next day it happened. You got to look at the numbers. YouTube is a business. Every time you click on a video on YouTube, there's an ad that runs for it. That ad is what put money into the YouTuber's pocket. Unless, as you see on the bottom of the screen, it's scrolling. The Cash App is at the bottom. And also in the chat, there's a cash button for Cash App. That's how we get paid. So obviously, think about this. They're trying to put four teams in that's going to basically keep the views, keep the eyes on the TV the whole game. They don't want you to change the channel and go anywhere. So what they're thinking in their head, and I know you got to play the game because you never know really what's going to happen, but they're trying to avoid the 65-7 TCU. They're trying to avoid any of that stuff.
The problems with all of those things is that you won't, because it always and it's just and this is where Florida State fans get upset, not with you. I mean, you actually
they get upset with me because I'll be trolling.
Yeah, well, they get upset because you're a Miami fan, and anything that a Miami fan says that's counter to it is going to be like, you know what,
here's what I always tell them.
Or Florida fan.
Every time I seen an issue with Florida State, I say, if I point it out and critique it, the first thing they say to me, but Miami. I'm like, we're not connected. If we're talking about a certain thing that happened in there, why do you resort back to but Miami?
So my thing about if it's about resumes, it's not about resumes, because they were critiquing it when Jay Trav was there, and their excuse of using Florida State not in there was that Jay Trav got hurt. But bigger than that, everybody brings up TCU, which to me is the most asinine, like the asinine one to bring up, because TCU beat Michigan. Michigan has never won a college football playoff game. Nothing. They got beat by, and then Michigan got their behinds whooped by Georgia the year before. Like, so because that year was crazy because we saw multiple blowouts 2 years ago. So like the blowout that everybody's talking about may or may not have happened. Hell, what's crazy is if Ohio State's
a little technical difficulty, guys. Bear with us. I think maybe got a phone call. You got to go back out. No volume. Yeah, bear with us, guys. I think you got a phone call, so sometimes it kind of knocks it out.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
If Ohio State's kicker isn't on the payroll for Georgia and he makes a simple kick, we don't even have Georgia in there. And that's where it comes. That's why games, like the game's got to be played. And what I saw from Florida State in the Louisville game, one, they put up the same amount of offensive yardage as Michigan did against Iowa, which Iowa don't score points, which is, but whatever. Defensively, what Florida State did against Louisville was a masterpiece. That was a master class of defense. I've not seen Florida State's defense play that well, like under Fuller. Like, it was crazy. And, you know, at the end of the day, though, they're not in. You have to take advantage of what you have to take advantage of. And now I want all anarchy. I want to see it all burn down. I want to see the AP. I want to see Florida State win because I want the AP to not – I want – even if the AP doesn't necessarily put them at number one, if they give them a significant amount of votes for first place votes, it will be the talk of the college football season. And, you know, so that's the main thing. But, you know, a lot of stuff is just I've never been – I could troll, and I don't necessarily like rivals, but I've never been a hater. I could come out here and say Sean Taylor is one of the best football players that I've ever played against.
You know what's crazy? Florida State fans actually like me hating. I've done it a couple of times. I come on here and I say Florida State gonna win this game. I think the score gonna be this, that. You know, they tell me, nah, T2I, nah, hell nah.
You bad luck.
Pick the other team. Pick the other team.
Yeah, we don't want your bad mojo. If you've been picking all the other stuff and we've been winning, then we need you to keep picking them. But I think a lot of times that, like, because right now the troll is this: you're 13-0 and no playoff, and I'm like, well, that had nothing to do. Would you rather us be 7-5?
I go into it and I say it all the time. Florida State, y'all made history. Y'all the first undefeated team in this playoff era not to get in when there's other teams that's already got losses.
Power 5.
And on top of that, I pushed
Liberty's undefeated.
Because I know that Florida State fans gonna react. I was like, Florida State 13-0 is equivalent to 11-2. Because ain't no two loss team ever got in. So they might as well say you got 2 losses.
You know what? That's a more intelligent troll than seeing somebody say, because what I try to tell people is this: I'm like, okay, No, somebody's like, well, y'all didn't get in the playoff. We the same. No, like, no, we're not. Like a Florida fan's like, no, you're at home. Like, we're not the same. Like, you're gonna get to watch our game while you're spending Christmas with your family. Like, some of us got to work. Like, we got work to do while the holidays is going. But you know, it is what it is. But like at this point, I think again, you still play for the stuff. I always joke, only one team can win a national championship, man. And we don't know who it's going to be. But if your season is a failure because you did not win a national championship, I hear what people say.
Everybody's a failure every year except for the one team that win it.
Right. So I'm like, but it is a lot of work that goes into it. Like to play them games, winning games is not easy. So
I'll say this too. If I'm a team that's been going 6-6, 10 years straight, and I win 10 games, and you tell me my season wasn't a success, you can miss me with that.
That's why I just tell people, like, like I just told you, I remember 2013, I had my son, and I didn't get a chance to go to that game. We had nothing. Well, 14 was cool, but we didn't get to the national championship. Like, I do not take for granted the wins, because if winning happened that consistently, that easily, then our rivalry would not have to stoop down to the trolls that we have. Which again, to me, it's again, like that's why I joke with a lot of people. Seeing it's got to be a lot of younger guys in the rivalry right now on Twitter, because Twitter's a young man's game. And I'm like, you weren't really there in the 80s when them boys wore fatigues and people were actually afraid. Like the U was the Billy Badasses. Like, hell, Snoop put him in the song. What was that song? All I Do Is Win. We like the U in the 80s. Like, it's a reason why he was able to make that. But like now, I actually, while I may joke about the losses, I actually do live for a day that Florida State would be good and the U will actually be back to where there's some stand. Because the joke that we could make is that if the U was back, we'd probably be in the goddamn national championship right now. I don't hate nobody that much that I want my school to suck so that you don't get a chance to prosper.
I told them on the channel, I said, listen, as much as y'all come in here every week and wish us to lose every game, you really don't need that. You really don't need that, because at the end of the day, if we look like trash and you beat us, it don't do nothing for you. If y'all look like trash and we beat y'all, it don't do nothing for us. Resumes matter in college football. So the ACC this year was down. So Florida State beating us, it didn't look like much. We as much as I root against y'all, if I know Miami is in a predicament where they can actually go far, I'm gonna need y'all to win every game except for us. I'm gonna need every team on my resume, on my roster, on my schedule. I'm gonna need them to be up to par. So these games at the end of the year looks good. Now it's gonna be different moving forward because we're going to 12 team. If it was this year, the 12 team, Florida State wouldn't even have nothing to worry about. Y'all probably would have just cursed them out about the seeding, or you guys could have gave us the bye week. But unfortunately, they push you right to 5 where you're not in. But next season, it's a whole different story. But we was talking the other night about seeding and who's going to be in, who's going to be out, that kind of deal. The SEC is going to dominate the playoffs. The Big Ten will probably get 3 teams in, and Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. And the rest of it is like everybody else getting scraps.
Because USC is in the Big Ten now. If USC has a decent season, they're going to be a brand. They're going to want that LA market. It's like
Oregon too.
Oregon. So like that's the real play in all this. And again, it's just why it's unfortunate that people just don't see the bigger picture. Florida State just doesn't want to be in the ACC. Like the bigger picture is like the one out.
I made that very clear.
is and you just gave, and what was messed up for ESPN is that they gave inadvertently, by being petty for the most part, you gave them an actual window and an out that you didn't have to give them. Because I was telling you on the Spaces the other day, the grant of rights has this thing where if you violate it, you get sued in your state. And I can promise you, it's not like for 2 years, Ron DeSantis ain't gonna let nobody beat Florida State in the state of Florida. They'll change the damn law if they before they let some of this stuff happen. So once that happens, Florida State will be where they're at. But it's crazy because it would have been a better case against Florida State had Boo Corrigan actually stood on the table, did some more defending. Jim Phillips maybe said some stuff like, they should really be. It shouldn't be DeSantis and whoever the AG is. It should be Jim Phillips beating the table about how, which is the commissioner of the ACC, saying that this isn't right, that our conference champion should be in. But all you're doing is showing everybody that we ain't got no balls and that we are a, as the guy said, a so-called Power 5 conference. So, and that's a gut check right there.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are facing Georgia. A lot of fans, it's a slap in the face for them because they've came on this channel in the beginning of the year, in middle of the year, and towards the end, and they was all saying, we want Georgia. You got your wish, just not the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of fans in the chat right now. They was in there. We was joking about it. I pop it on the screen. Oh, they saying they want Georgia. I'm like, I don't think FSU is quite there to the depths of what Georgia has, but a lot of them, they want to hear it. But now you got Georgia for real.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity. I mean, Georgia's good. Like, I was listening to these boys, and I put it on my show, on this podcast. Man, like, again, and that's why I was telling Florida State fans, like, y'all crazy. I know Georgia fans are pissed off, but Kirby not finna come in that thing and say, oh, well, we got slighted. We lost when we weren't supposed to lose, and we're not going to take this game seriously. Georgia fans expect to win, and they should. And Florida State fans should do the exact same thing. Like, I've been to 2 Orange Bowls. I was like, my thing was this. How dare you? Like, I get it. We should be, let's say it. We should be there, but we not. Y'all was just partying in Orlando with me a year ago. We were 500 deep at a damn tailgate and happy to be at the Cheez-It Bowl because we hadn't been in no damn bowl game like that for a while. Yeah. So we go from Cheez-Its to Miami, to the Orange Bowl, a New Year's Six Bowl, a climb, a progression, and now we too good for that. Like, I get it. We mad. We want to be in New Orleans. We want to be in the Rose Bowl. But, like, Orlando's better. Orlando's not better than Miami. I can tell you that much as far as cities go. Miami's a dope place to visit. I know everybody love to say all this other stuff. Congratulations, you live in a city that most of y'all can't afford to be in. Kudos to you. I like making well over 6 figures in Jacksonville and feeling like I'm rich. I don't want to feel like I don't want to make my salary and feel like I only make $50,000 in Miami.
Listen, man, Miami is Miami, but I'm a little bit north of that. I'm in Palm Beach.
Okay, yeah. See, like, even like there, my daughter and her mother live in Palm Beach. So even when I go down there, I'm like, yo, man. I remember driving. I looked at the gas. I'm like, damn, what the hell's going on around here? But still cheaper. But my point in all of that is that it is a great place to visit. It's dope. Enjoy it. It's a beach there. It's gonna be a little chilly, but there'll be some things there that you can get involved in and have a great time. Yeah. Like against a quality opponent that will mean something when you beat them. Because Kirby ain't taking this game lightly. Just because you pouting and you mad, Kirby will go out there and reset the goddamn scoreboard on us.
Now, I'm gonna say something. You ain't gonna like this too much, but I got Georgia by 24.
I gotta find out who playing.
I just feel like the depth that they have, the players behind other players, I think when y'all get the opt-outs and the top players that you've been having all year not playing, I don't think y'all match up well.
That's what I want to see. I don't know who's opting out. I'm actually hearing more optimism. Like, the guys were very emotional on that Sunday and that Monday. But it's looking like some of them are kind of like, all right, I'm coming back around. Like, Johnny Wilson was the first one to say I'm declaring for the NFL draft and those things, and I'm going to play in the Senior Bowl, but I'm not. But he's since taken that down, so I don't know. So I need to know who's playing before I make a determination. But like, if Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman don't play, we uphill. We fight an uphill battle. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Let's do this. Let's run the roster, guys that will get drafted off of that roster. Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, the tight end, I think, was it Murlock or
Jaheim Bell?
Bell.
Murlock's coming back. Murlock's not.
So Bell will probably go. Trey Benson, definitely.
Yeah.
That's your whole offense already.
That's if they opt out. You're saying the NFL guys are guys opting out?
Opting to go to the NFL. Because most of them, when it comes closer to it, they're going to tell you that because them agents is going to get on them.
Yeah, Trey. Well, some of them got to play. Keon don't got to play another down. Keon's grade is solidified for the most part. Johnny, I think Johnny, his size and everything, he can go without actually playing. Well, Johnny's going. It's the difference is Keon's top 10 if he performs well in the combine. There's nothing happen. The only thing can happen at Georgia is him to go down. Johnny is probably what he is no matter what. Like Johnny's going to be a mid-round draft guy because he's not exponentially fast, but he's a big target.
Right.
Trey, I don't know if Trey has the stats yet, but I think Trey's going to play. Trey will be a guy that I would bet on playing.
Speed alone in the combine is
going. He's going to put up numbers. You're right. He will put up numbers. Outside of that, I also think even though the two people who don't need to play, I think will play for some reason. I think Jared Verse and Fisk are going to play. I really think because a lot of these guys will play in the Senior Bowl, and what I told one person is, we all know the brand of Georgia. We know what Kirby's able to do. I'd argue that you perform well in the bowl game against Georgia does more for you than you going and playing in the Senior Bowl. That's my selfish argument.
I would go with that too.
But I think that's what, because again, it's really weird to say this, but having been around them and like hanging out, seeing them, like these guys actually like each other. Like what's funny is the video that I saw somebody talk about where they weren't fighting each other.
They were. No. That was a narrative push by Drew.
No, without a doubt. What I'm saying, but it looked like they was fighting somebody together. Like it looked like
They was.
Which was what happened when I was playing.
In the beginning, he was trying to stop him from fighting, but then when he ran over there and bumped dude, knocked him to the floor, it was like, all right, man, because dude swung on him. It was like at this point he just swung on me. You gotta let me go. I gotta go do what I gotta do.
Another time, them boys would have it would have been every man for himself. Like it would have been every man for himself. But the fact that it's hard to explain, and I love being able to quantify things, and so it frustrates me to not be able to do it. But I would not. I'm gonna even level with you. I wouldn't be shocked. I think we'll all be shocked by the guys who have the opportunity to opt out, but for whatever reason decide to come back. Now we can argue how stupid it is all day, and I probably won't argue with you. But this is why knowing NIL, and I only know how y'all NIL works for obvious reasons. But knowing how the NIL works, like you can actually, if you have a solid one, you can actually delay some guys from making that trip if they feel like their grade will go up. Like Johnny got to leave because Johnny's not going to get drafted any higher coming back another year. Keon, if Keon comes back, I told him having the same last name. I said, I call him my bastard son. I was like, if Keon comes back, we having a family meeting. And we're vetoing that. I'm going to be like Armando Blunt's mama. I'm going to say we shutting that shit down right now.
I think y'all fans literally pushed them out today.
No, that ain't what happened. That's no.
I'm saying from seeing some of the response and seeing some of how they've been going at her, I think y'all literally pushed them away.
She was already gone, bro. It might have solidified it, and there ain't no coming back. But it was and a lot of it, her choice, their family's choice. Got to make the best decision for your kid. Not here to tell you right, wrong, or indifferent. But I do tell people this: that just like Kurt. My mama taught me never throw a stone and hide your hand. Don't act like you don't know why people going crazy. Like you know why people are going crazy. Just go ahead and do it. Everybody know if it's out and you want to do it, just go ahead and flip. Nothing wrong with it. I'm going to root for him. I'm going to want him to play for the Jags. It's just like Bane. Like Bane, good. I hope the Jaguars draft him in a few years. Like, but hell, all you're doing is stressing yourself out and like you just said, just all you gotta do is mute that. Push that mute button.
Cam Akers, I was like, not too big on him because I thought he had more potential than what he put on, at Florida State. Next thing you know, the Rams with this selection, Cam Akers, I'm like, damn, he's on my team. Welcome, my boy. Hey, number one, I'm gonna be your number one fan as long as you're here.
That part
is what it is.
It's a part of the game, and like I see somebody put like I don't like. I guess you can explain this to me because I don't know as a fan. Why do fans act? Because I have some good friends who are Miami fans and stuff like that. Why do fans act like they shocked that things happen? Like your fan base don't do that. We're going at mothers. Oh my goodness, we would never do that in Miami. I
tell them all the time. I'm like, listen, we're not the only team that's going to lose players to the transfer portal.
Right.
We're not the only team that's going to flip somebody or get flipped on. If it happened to them, it could happen to you. If you happy when it happened to somebody else, why are you so outraged when it happened to you?
I tell people that all the time. It's part
of the game.
It's part of the game. People say wild shit all the time. I had somebody like I've heard some of the wildest things said from all fan bases, and I'm just like, one thing I would never do is like act shocked at anything that somebody says that's, oh my God, somebody says something that's over the top. Guy who I like messing with going back and forth is X. I've heard X say some of the wildest shit, and I've heard people say some of the wildest shit to X. And I don't feel sympathy for either side because I know I can like you and know, you invited that. At the end of the day,
when we got Blunt, I was at the stadium. I was walking in for the game. He committed. I made a video and went inside, watched the game. Came out a month later. I'm like, we just got Blunt, 5-star, 25. Then he reclassified and committed to Florida State. I'm like, man, Florida State just flipped Blunt. Don't worry about that dude, man. He just a little joint. Next thing you know, boom, about to flip back to us. He about to be the biggest joint I know. But that's just how it rolls, man. At the end of the day, they get mad at decisions that kids make. I as a grown man, I can't do it. They send me information sometimes. Oh, this guy flipped. This guy's coming. And I say, well, I know, but I can't do nothing with that. Because my channel is not to announce kids' announcements before they do. So you telling me it really don't do nothing for me. It just give me a safety net or whatever. But I don't come on here and say, oh, this kid's coming to Miami. He coming to Miami. After they do it, then I do videos.
I tell people, as a guy who's been recruited, a guy who deals with recruits and stuff, is one of the weirdest things in the world. And I'm going to let some of you people know what it really feels like. I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to position it. And it's going to sound really weird coming up, but this is what you look like. Those are 17-year-old boys that y'all are following. You're getting upset. Like you got to go talk. Imagine talking to your significant other and you mad because of what a little boy did. Like a little 17-year-old boy that ain't got nothing to do with you. You watching them little boys sweat in little shorts and their shirts off. When you watching them at camps, you watching them do all these different things. When you write it out, man, it's some pedophile shit. Right? So like it's some stalker stuff. Like, so just step back, realize that not all of them make the best decisions, and they have the right to do whatever they think. And that's what I always say. And like if it works out for you, it works out for you. But
if you look at like the people I follow on Twitter, it's mostly people that keep up with recruiting, keep up with stuff that's going on. And I'll run into people like yourself that talks, the stuff that I like to listen to. So I'll follow you guys. But as far as a recruit, unless he's already committed to Miami, I'm not following them.
That's why I have this thing called MFTK. I actually have FAMU colored hats that can go for somebody else. So if you really want to understand, like, so it's called, well, it goes to my nonprofit called Mentors for the Kids, but it also stands for something else. Man, F them kids. And with a comma, because I don't want you to, some people take that, don't take it literally. It's just, man, F them kids.
Let me say this. I went on, there's a guy that said, you guys won the 13 game. They looking to troll. So they said they want that Michael Jordan, the picture where he say F them kids, that little meme.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay, I got to find that picture. But I go on Google. I'm like, I can't write that in, F them kids. I'll probably have all kind of alerts coming this way.
Exactly.
So I had to put Michael Jordan meme, and I had to spell all that stuff wrong.
All right, people put FTK and they put all kinds of other stuff, but like
I can only see it now. My phone will be tapped. The FBI will be at my door.
But again, with recruiting, I promise you, some of y'all better not ever get like no whiff or nothing, because they're gonna see all your comments on 17-year-old boys and they're gonna use that on you in court. And they're gonna say you a whole weirdo. But I say that to say is that people were getting like, why don't they want us? Why won't they come to us? I'm like, man, fuck them kids. Like, let them kids do whatever they want to do, man. I'm not about to mess my life up, my good thing up over here, because some kid decided that he wanted to get his college degree somewhere else.
Now, here's what messed me up, though. You got a kid, he love your Canes or your Seminoles or whoever. You get them in the class, they commit, but then something better come along, they'll fit the team and it's going to work out better for the team. And you got to let that kid go. That's them the ones that touch you. Like, damn, I know this kid want to play for us. I know this kid is a hurricane at heart, but we got better prospects and we can't let them in.
Part of the game.
Yeah, it's a part of the game, but it's like, damn, man, that's a tough one.
But that's why I always tell people, like, that's why I don't bash kids, because I know how it go on both. I've seen the scholarships get pulled. I've had to talk to the kids.
Look at Bethune for y'all. He said that Miami game meant so much to him because he literally wanted to kick our teeth in for not taking them.
It happens, man. And that's why I always just like, that's why I'm like, I never come high and mighty on people, because I know what these convos get like. Again, when you start having kids that you're close to, that you've mentored or you've trained or you've done these different things with, and they're trying to make real life decisions. Like, the one thing I always tell them, I say, man, don't listen to what them cats say, man. Forget them. I gotta tell them, when you commit, you're gonna be the world's greatest kid ever to that school. You decommit, you wasn't shit, you got pushed out, you got all this other stuff, you suck, you cross-eyed it, your mama ugly. Like, it's gonna be a whole bunch of other stuff said about you by people who would give their left testicle to be in the position that you're in. And that's the biggest thing. Like, no matter what, critiques are critiques. But most people,
it don't even end as a recruit. You commit, sign on the dotted line. The first time you get burnt, the first time you miss a tackle, God forbid that tackle was the one that could have won the game.
I always just tell people, like, I promise you, they didn't go to practice. They're not practicing missing tackles. They like, it might not be worse. Sometimes he's not good. He's not as good as you thought he was. But that doesn't mean he's a bad person. Now, I am not opposed to saying things like that. I don't even think this person is genuinely a good person. I don't think he's just bad at football. I think he's a terrible person. But for the most part, that's tongue-in-cheek joking. Like, these are people. Because what's crazy is, imagine if somebody talk sideways about some of these people kids, you'd be ready to fight.
But I seen it happen this year in our Miami spaces. Cyrus Moss. I seen the fans went at it with his dad. Last year we got a transfer from Iowa. What's his name? Terry Roberts. Him and the fans went at it. Him and his dad and the fans went at it. I've seen it happen. Sometimes it's a lot of people in the fan base that will literally argue with them kids and them parents.
Like, I tell people this, and I leave with this. I gotta try to find some food, man. It's pouring down rain.
Oh yeah. We've been on about an hour and something.
I started all of the 2003 season, and what happened was I decided the internet's still new. I said I'm gonna Google myself because I want to see what articles have been written about me. I was smelling myself, so I type in Google, and it brings up message boards from War Chat in particular. And I'm reading it, and it's people who are ill-informed. They're saying, you know, this undersized fullback, we're going to abandon the running game, which is the best part of our game. He ain't going to do shit. He this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. My little feelings got hurt because I decided to go read the opinions of people who wish they were in my shoes. I called my mama. My mama said she didn't know how to use the internet, so she would never see this. She was just like, baby, they talked about Jesus. What makes you think they wouldn't talk about you? That's not what I wanted to hear. So I called my grandmama. And when my grandmama told me, who told your dumb ass to read? They didn't bring. She's like, they didn't bring you there. They didn't bring you there to read. They brought you there to hit people. If you hit people hard enough, they're gonna talk good about you. My point is, if you're looking for praise from fans, you're not going. You're gonna die by the. You're gonna die by the criticism. Like, so all you gotta do is that. But man, I guess y'all just gotta recruit.
Yeah, we just got a linebacker, Elijah, Melendez, Spanish last name. I think it's Melendez. He just committed to the U.
Oh, well.
He's a 25 linebacker though, 4-star. Yeah. Also, we got another one today. We got a transfer from Vanderbilt, a safety from Vanderbilt. So that's 2 for today. But you don't like Florida just as much as I do.
Oh yeah.
Their team right now is in turmoil and shambles. They can't hit on the portal. They recruiting's going downhill. As a Florida State fan and as a rival, what's your thoughts on it?
I think Steve Spurrier said it best when they got rid of right when Meyer left. He said Florida is a place that chews coaches up and spits them out. They have this. They've got 3 championships now because they got 2 in Meyer. But even before Spurrier came, they have this air of we have a program, we have a standard. But Florida didn't really get important until Spurrier got there in '90. So like they're still relatively new to truly winning. But the expectations are so high, and now you're in a conference that's so that the top dogs are the top dogs. You gotta have a. Like I had this thing where I call it the standard is the standard. So obviously, if the standard's winning championships, that's where you have to judge yourself to. But let's use school. A's and B's are the standard. But if you got an IEP, like you're not gonna make A's and B's without some help. So you gotta lower those expectations a little bit, and we start hitting these benchmarks. The problem is Florida keeps coming out and saying we're going to, and the fan base is like we're going to win, and the non-traditional media is what's pushing the wave now. The 1-3s, the 2-4-7s aren't doing that. I'm gonna give credit again. I've never been a hater. When I look at Florida, I think like what Gator Dave does with Dave Breakdown. With Gator Breakdown with Dave Waters. You look at the Big 3 roll up. You look at stuff like that. Those are the things that are kind of pushing the narrative of what Florida fans believe. And when those guys are saying things that aren't necessarily quantifiable, like we're going to win 10 games, like where? Like how did you look at last year's schedule and not see at best 7-5 season? I picked 5-7 for them and 7-5 for y'all. Just not hating, just looking at the schedule. And that's the tough part.
Example of that, I was in the Miami space the other day. Somebody said the expectation for next year is 10 wins. So I'm like, if Mario win 9 games, is that not good enough? Is this, that, and the third? They were like, no, you got to win 10 games. So I'm like, who's our quarterback? Who's going to be the receivers? Who's going to be this, that, and this? Oh, we don't know yet. So why is 10 games the expectation when you don't know what key players or who going to be in place? What the other teams look like, because nobody's a finished product yet. Oh man, we just got to win 10 games. Okay, so y'all setting an expectation before anything's in place. What about injuries? Halfway through the season, you lose 2 quarterbacks. What about stuff like that? A lot of people make these off-season predictions and expectations, and you can't live up to them sometimes.
And that's the issue. So until you know what you got, and I think I would go with Miami, I would say 7 or 8 wins until I know who your quarterbacks are, because I believe your defense is good. And I believe you can win a lot of games with good
You
defense.
also got to look at it too. The defense
will
be without Leonard Taylor. It will be without, Cam Kitchens and James Williams. So it's going to be a new look. Some of the linebackers that was playing this year, it might improve in that department, but some departments are going to take a shell shock.
Fair. But and then actually, the problem with Florida fans too, he's a lame duck coach. If it's not next year, it's going to be the year after that. Them boys ain't winning more than 2 games.
I predict them to win 3 games. Damn, I'm going to be overdoing it.
No, and it's not a troll. It's just, I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw it, I'm like, who hates Florida in the SEC? Like, why would you literally have a team that won back-to-back national championships, a team that's in the college football playoff. You have a team that you consistently beats you in LSU. You've got like Georgia. It's tough. Like it's tough for me to go. All I look at, I'm saying 2 wins, and I don't know what the second win is. I just know they're beating Samford.
They get Samford, and they can get one of them.
They're gonna get another one,
Vanderbilt or something, or South Carolina may slip up, or Missouri might fall back. That kind of deal. But
they playing Miami,
they playing Florida State, they playing Texas, LSU, Tennessee.
Missouri loading up, man.
Going down, man. But man, appreciate you, man, for coming through. I'm gonna catch you on them spaces and everything, but appreciate your time, boss. Appreciate you coming through, blessing the channel, all the FSU fans. I told y'all earlier that we're gonna have some interviews with Seminoles, Canes, Gators, and everything. We're gonna try to mix that in this year. I'm gonna try to get a little bit serious. I've even apologized to the Florida State and the Gator fans because I do too much trolling in the spaces to where they be trying to kick me out. So, but appreciate you for coming through, boss.
Man, no doubt, man. We'll definitely got to return the favor. And then when we get back to next season, when we get closer to the season, man, definitely have you come on, give us a better understanding of what Miami's got coming in, man. I'm like I said, it's definitely respect.
I'm gonna say this.
Definitely with that.
I'm gonna say this. Next season, you might see me on TV with this ESPN, ABC, and all that. It'll be the first Florida State fan throwing up their youth.
I definitely got you.
All our home games, I gotta wear y'all stuff.
So I'm actually because it's hot down there, so I got to find a shirt for you. I can't just send you the sweatshirt. But I got you 3X.
Sleeveless.
I got you. I got the address. I'm gonna send it down to you.
Yeah, you gonna see me on TV though. Now you up there, you gonna be like, damn, that man just brought straight shame to Florida State because half of them not even gonna know I'm a Miami fan.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. But that's okay. We all know. We those who need to know will know.
I can see ESPN spinning. Bobby Bowden would be rolling in his grave right now if he saw this.
Fair.
But all right, appreciate you, boss. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I think we tapped out at like 160. So appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for hitting the like button, supporting the channel, and all that good stuff.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah, plug yourself, wherever you at.
So, at Den Media Group on YouTube, check it out. We're like every time I hit a $1,000 milestone, we give away 10% of that. So we are like 202 away from being at 4,000 subs. So once we get to that, we do Big Games BS Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Once we get to 4,000 subs, we will give away $400 on the channel. All you gotta do is put your Cash App in that bad boy. We literally give it away by the end of the show, and then we do we give away however many likes. So like we'll give away $400. Like today's show, we just did impromptu. We had like 160 likes, so it would have been $400 and $160 to the second place person. So we do that stuff. We give away giveaways. We have ticket giveaways, all kinds of different things. So check out Den Media Group, Big Games BS. We have film breakdowns. We have a whole bunch of other stuff. that we have going on the channel. So it's not just sports. We talk about life. We talk about all kind of other randomness. So you would definitely like it.
Y'all do me a favor. All you guys in the chat, y'all know his links. Y'all know, his platform. Make sure y'all put it in the comment section. I'll pin it at the top so they can see it. So if you know the YouTube channel, go ahead and put it in the comment section, and I'll make sure to pin that, and then I'll copy it and put it in the description of the video also. All right, boss.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
Take care. Go Canes. All right. Appreciate all you Seminole fans, all you Hurricane fans, Gator fans, everybody for coming through. I'm going to try to do more of these interviews for you guys. Like I said, I'm going to reach out to these players, see who I can get on, and, we can have these conversations. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Go Canes, and have a good day.